Are we about to see a Civil War Part 2 in Avengers Doomsday? It looks like that might be the case, as a new report says that Avengers Doomsday is mostly about Doom versus Steve. What is going on, Cosmic Crew? Thanks for stopping by the channel today. It looks like Marvel Studios might be going back to what they know works. At least they know works for the fandom. Because before, the face of the MCU was really Steve Rogers and Tony Stark. And now we have Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom, and it's been reported many times at this point that Chris Evans is returning as Captain America. This time, Robert Downey Jr. playing the villain, Doctor Doom, meaning, like the report states, and this is coming from the insider Variable Lace, the movie is mostly going to be about Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom versus Steve Rogers' Captain America. So it looks like we might be getting that Civil War again. But as far as marketing is concerned, it's pretty smart. That was peak Marvel time. Looks like they're trying to capture that. And we already know that because the Russo brothers posted that Avengers Endgame re-released it in theaters piece, which said, "You love that feeling." We know that that's what they're going for. Nostalgia. Now, I think this is going to follow a very specific story, and I don't actually think it is what a lot of people think it's going to be. It's not just going to be about literally Steve versus Doom the entire movie, although I do believe that Doom has a personal vendetta against Steve Rogers, because we have heard many leaks at this point in time that Doom had a family, Doom had a universe, and his family was killed and his universe was destroyed because of an incursion that happened. And it said that Steve Rogers is the one who caused that incursion. So it makes sense that Doom would go up against Steve. And it makes sense that Steve, Chris Evans returning as Captain America, would be a major player in this movie. It was reported by Deadline a while ago that he is indeed returning. So at this point, we know he's in the movie, and we've actually heard that the final scene for Avengers Endgame, which is Steve and Peggy together dancing, is going to be the opening scene for Avengers Doomsday. That's obviously not confirmed at this point in time, but that is a report that we've heard, and I think it makes sense. Doom would show up in the very beginning of the movie and basically would say to him, "You caused an incursion, time to die." And I think Loki shows up and saves him and explains what's going on, and then roll credits. But here's what I think is really going to happen with Avengers Doomsday when it comes to Steve and Doctor Doom. One, and I kind of don't like this, but I can see how it makes sense. You'll have to let me know what you think. I think they might be replacing the rivalry and the dynamic between Doom and Reed Richards with Doom and Steve, because as far as we know right now, there's not really a connection between Reed and Doom. Now, we did get the Latveria sign in the Fantastic Four First Steps, but I'm not really sure Doom is going to be from that universe. I wish he was from that universe, but it sounds like, well, just based on everything we've heard, it doesn't sound like it. So I'm sure 828 has a Doom or had a Doom, and Reed will know of Doom, and Doom will know of Reed. But I think they might shift from that focus, that rivalry, to Captain America and Doctor Doom, because I'm sure if there was a Reed, at some point in time, there was also a Steve Rogers as Captain America. And then it's not quite the same, but I can see Captain America going, "It's not Tony. It looks like Tony, but it's not. He's from a different universe. He's a different person, different circumstances shaped who he is. He's not the same." And basically, it comes down to Steve and Doom. Now, it was revealed at a trade show, at the cinema show in Italy, that Loki is going to be a member of what we'll call the new Avengers team, not the Thunderbolts, but the new Avengers team with Sam Wilson. I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Rogers comes back and is basically the leader of that team. That's actually what I think is going to happen. So when it comes down to a Doom versus Steve Rogers, I think it's really Doom versus the Avengers, right? Everybody figures out what Doom is trying to do, and the Avengers go to stop him. And Doom fights the Avengers because they're going to try to stop him. And they also have to protect Loki, because Doom is going to know about the TVA. He's going to know about Kang, so we've heard, and I really hope they tackle that in some way, shape, or form. But he basically knows that he's either going to have to get rid of the TVA or control the TVA, and he has to dethrone Loki. And if Loki is a part of the Avengers team, which he is going to be, and I also do believe he is going to have his own multiversal Avengers team, well, then the Avengers are going to protect Loki. And if Steve Rogers is the head of the Avengers, we obviously get Steve versus Doom. But like I did mention before, there is a personal matter here. Obviously, Doom wants to rule the multiverse, But he also wants to take out Steve Rogers if he did indeed cause an incursion that killed his family, right? That's almost going to matter more to Doom than actually taking control of the multiverse, because that's Doom's character. But of course, at the same time, Doom's character, he does want to rule the multiverse. But here's where we kind of get the Civil War. I do believe Doom thinks what he is doing, going about the multiverse, trying to kill people who have caused incursions, trying to save the universe, I do believe he thinks he is the hero. I think he believes that his way is the only way. And that's kind of taken a page from Hickman's run in the comics as well. Doom says there's only one way, and isn't it better to save something than nothing at all? And that's how Doctor Strange actually joins him. Doctor Strange agrees with what he's doing. And so this is what I think is going to happen. I think from Doom's perspective, some of these heroes, they have actually caused incursions to happen, and that set off a chain of events, and now the whole entire multiverse is in jeopardy of being destroyed. So in Doom's eyes, these people who have caused the incursions, these heroes that have done things, they're the bad guys. He's the good guy trying to stop it from being destroyed. I think some heroes are going to agree with him, especially Doctor Strange, because we've learned that Doctor Strange has caused many incursions. And if he figures out that he is one of the core elements of the destruction of the multiverse, he's going to want to try to make amends for it, right? And that's how, if the Scarlet Witch comes back, fingers crossed, she could also say, yeah, I want to atone for what I did. I want to help save the multiverse, so I'm going to join Doctor Doom. And I think some other heroes could think that way as well. So we could get some heroes kind of switching over. I do think we get like Doctor Strange and maybe some others. And that's how we kind of get another Civil War in Avengers Doomsday. Now, obviously, it's not the same, but if you kind of think about it, it's almost a similar concept. Doctor Doom is basically going around the multiverse trying to put in check heroes who have gone off on a limb and done things without kind of realizing what the consequences would be. Whereas Steve Rogers and Loki are probably going to say, well, no, we should have all free will and we shouldn't be controlled. So almost a little bit like Secret Wars, a little bit, or sorry, not Secret Wars, Civil War, right? So not exactly, but kind of almost kind of the same in principle. But I do think it's smart having Doom and Steve be kind of like, not the main conflict, but if Steve is the leader, then it really does come down to Doom and Steve. And Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., they were the faces of the franchise forever. And now that Marvel has switched their plans and we haven't got a lot of marketing and promos and not a lot of build up to what's about to happen, I mean, yeah, it makes sense from a business side to have these two be the faces. And people are going to freak out that these two are returning. Like, imagine you haven't heard really anything about Avengers Doomsday, and then you watch a trailer for it online randomly or in a theater, and then you see Robert Downey Jr. is now the villain and Chris Evans is returning again. You're going to freak out. I mean, we're freaking out, obviously, too. But then you add the X-Men to this and everything like that. I mean, it's literally going to be crazy. The marketing's going to go wild. And I think the marketing, they're doing it very subtly, but I think it's actually pretty smart. I've already talked about how smart it is that I think the Russos said, you know, you remember the feeling, you love the feeling of Avengers Endgame. It's re-releasing, and I think they're going to include, you know, a new post-credit scene, some new scenes to get people to go watch and get excited for Doomsday. I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. But I think this would be pretty smart as well from a marketing standpoint. And the only thing I would say is, of course, the story has to be good. You can't just do this as a gimmick, right? I understand why they're doing it, and I think it's cool. I actually like the idea of Captain America returning and him going up against someone who looks like Tony that isn't Tony. Then you add Spider-Man in there, the new Avengers, the Thunderbolts, the X-Men. It's going to go crazy, right? I don't doubt that the story is going to be good, but it has to be good. I don't doubt it, but it does need to be good. But the Russos know that, Stephen McFeely knows that, Michael Waldron knows that, Kevin Feige knows that. So I'm not really too worried. I'm more excited than anything. But go ahead and let me know what you think about this, especially the Reed and Doom and Captain America and Doom part, because I am kind of curious if that's what they're doing. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all things with Marvel and Avengers Doomsday. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.